Hi, everybody. Welcome to Going Digital with Zoom Catalog. Our goal with Going Digital is to highlight industry leaders and their digital transformations in the promotional product industry. We hope you find this information valuable and that it'll help you grow your business. Today, we have a special guest, Ashley Nielsen from S&S. She is the Senior Director of Marketing and Merchandising. Hi, Ashley.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Of course, yeah, thanks for joining us. We're excited to chat about S&S and where you guys are headed.
Yeah, sounds great.
So to get started, can you tell us a little bit about S&S and your role at the company?
Sure. So for those that are unfamiliar, S&S is one of the larger apparel wholesalers of blank apparel in the promotional products industry. We have grown significantly in the last 10 years specifically, as far as being a single distribution warehouse to now 6 distribution centers across the country. So we have upwards of 3.5 million square feet of distribution and can get to the majority of the continental US within a 1 to 2 day ship point. So we're really excited about that growth and it's been really fun. And then from a merchandising and marketing perspective, just continuing to really be the innovators from a marketing side and really bringing the customers the necessary apparel that they want and that they need, that they are either seeing within our channel or that they're seeing from a consumer-facing retail side as well.
Okay, yeah. And cutting right to the chase, would you say your company is going digital or has been undergoing a digital transformation?
Absolutely. It's been something that has been a really significant initiative of ours in the last couple of years. And then compliments of COVID, it's something that has definitely kickstarted that even faster and kind of made all of us take a look back at all the traditional elements of marketing and sales support that we've put together and really try and find a way to continue to innovate and do what's necessary for our customers from a digital perspective, and just knowing that that's the easiest touch point for all of them right now, so that they can be as close to market as possible.
Right. And what are the biggest challenges you guys have faced over the last year?
I would say in regards to digital, it's just the options that are out there. So it's really, there's so many different opportunities and areas that you can kind of go into. And so it's trying to find the necessary resources, whether that be internally or externally, on how we really want to develop and advance. And then what does the timeline look like? So we don't want to kind of rush things out there and not have them be helpful, but then you don't want to spend too much time in development and kind of miss the boat at the same point.
And you guys offer a lot of different retail brands. As a company, have you learned from how these B2C companies run and the tools they're using?
We have, to an extent. I think the hardest part for our channel is always who's our customer presenting to, or who are they trying to captivate. So from a B2C perspective, although we're all consumers at the end of the day, and so we all know what we're getting hit with anytime we're looking for something, and it's trying to streamline that and kind of narrow the gap a little bit of, we're used to seeing it, our customers used to seeing it, and their end users used to seeing it. So why should we not be able to align those a little bit closer? But then also understanding from a B2C perspective, you're not having to add in that decoration technique or the different fabrications, or there's a lot of terminology that gets thrown around in our industry that the normal person doesn't necessarily know or understand. That those different things, I think, make it challenging at times to just try and be able to rinse and repeat what our retail partners are doing within that space.
Right. And what kind of tools are you guys using? Digital tools?
Currently, we're doing a lot, obviously with you guys. And so we convert all of our catalogs into an electronic digital platform. That's something that we've done for years. I think it's great that you guys have had the opportunity to continue to advance those tools as well. So we just launched our 2021 What's New piece about a month or two ago, I guess 2 months ago now. And so within that, You guys gave us the ability to add in hyperlinks so that it can take the customer directly to our homepage to check inventory and pricing. It also gave us the ability to load in some videos. So that's another big initiative of ours, is how do we continue to advance the amount of assets from a creative perspective that are available, that are also educational to our customer and also the end user. So we found that to be very necessary for something like a bag. So a backpack or a duffel or whatever it looks like, it's really hard for a user to be able to understand what do all these pockets do, what's really on the inside of that bag, when all they're seeing is the front side back imagery, or they're seeing someone holding it on their back and they just don't know what else it entails. So we're really putting some significant efforts behind all of that from a video production perspective for things that are just a little bit more technical. And then continuing to advance any of our sales content, whether that be specifically for our sales team to be using, or if it's something that the customer is just able to reuse on their end as well. So it's really allowing the customer to have access to a significant amount of creative that they're not having to spend their own time and resources in developing.
Right, makes sense. And outside of the interactive elements that you can add to your catalog once it's online, how does your catalog look different this year in terms of the design itself?
Yeah, so this year was a big change for us. Speaking to the fact that we're one of the larger wholesalers within this industry, the majority of people would not be surprised by the size of our catalog, although it's insane. So this year we'd gotten, significantly down the path from a production perspective prior to COVID. And it was really trending towards like a 9 to 950 page catalog, which is crazy. And it's a lot of content for someone to try and filter through and understand, especially from an end user's perspective. And I think it's something for us specifically that we've been trying to analyze in the last couple of years of, is that the most beneficial resource to our customers? Are they really getting everything out of what all of that is, or would something else be more advantageous for them to use to make their business more efficient and to make it easier instead of it maybe just being a buying guide? Because then at the end of the day, in order for them to either place their order or to check inventory, they're having to go to the website, they're having to call in. So it's a little bit of a clumsier process than it is now, kind of narrowing things down and building out more of that search functionality that we're all used to being able to do from a e-com perspective of, I go in, I know what t-shirt I'm looking for, I know what color, I know all the features that I want, and I can narrow it down that way to really find it, where I think that's a lot more challenging for a lot of people to kind of figure out within a print perspective. So any of our cataloging functions going forward will be much more focused. So they'll either be from a category perspective or a brand perspective, and just, kind of around that sweet spot of the 30 to 100 pages, give or take, of really kind of pulling out and targeting a specific area instead of just throwing everything at everybody.
Makes sense. So you're paring down your full line catalog and making smaller, more segmented and targeted pieces?
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. And obviously your distributors are going to be using these tools. Are you finding any value of using them in-house, like having your team have access to them?
We do. So our sales team uses them a lot. We use them internally just, for different inspiration, whether it be for social or for sample kits or whatever that might look like. But our sales team really uses it as just an additional touch point to the customer. So just letting them know, hey, we just launched this new piece, whether it's print or digital, we just want to kind of get it in front of you, get your thoughts. It allows them to either open up a new opportunity with an existing customer or continue to cultivate that relationship with someone that, from a team perspective, maybe they know this person always targets all of the schools in their area, so I have to get it to them. Or maybe it's a way for them to help their customer pivot a little bit more too in a, hey, I know that you've always supported the local businesses, but maybe take it the next step further and look at the sports teams or what the community is doing and things like that. So just different ways that they can kind of continue to help their customers along the way and open up new business opportunities for them, and then obviously us as well.
Right, makes sense. So pivoting a little bit, our industry's been a little old school. I mean, we can't deny that. And really a lot of the interactions are face-to-face and really hands-on, but things changed this year dramatically. I think we've been headed this direction regardless, but we've been propelled into this digital world. So how are you guys approaching that and maintaining that like personal touch that we may not have now that we're, all remote?
For sure. That's been a really big thing for us. So we really have built the foundation of our business on the relationships that we have, whether that be internally with our own employees and colleagues, or whether that be to the vendor level, and the types of relationships we build with them and the partnerships that we continue to grow, and then on to our sales team and on to their customers. We're in the thick of our 2022 merchandising right now, and it's been very interesting to try and do it all virtually. It doesn't have quite the same feel and excitement behind it, but it's nice that we at least have the option to kind of be in the office. Our brand partners are able to send us product, and then we're able to have a type of virtual meeting. So it's kind of one of those something's better than nothing at this point. And then as far as our sales team and how they're reaching their customers, the last couple years really put a lot more attention and dedication into our sample kits and how we reach out to our customers as well. And so we have a really amazing creative team that we've built internally. They all have their own little niche and skill set, which is awesome when it comes to the actual creative development of all of these pieces. So not two pieces are alike, and that's the excitement of it. And that's how we want it to be. So we want our customers to really have something show up and have it stand out from what else they're receiving, whether everything is coming in through their warehouse or their front office or wherever it's at. We want it to be memorable for them and have it be an experience, and have them hold on to it also. So you'll see a variety of them over my head. But one that I would say was a much larger initiative for us this year were face masks. I think it's something that we all had no other choice but to kind of get involved in. And then we had so many options we didn't even know what to do with. They're all different types. They're all from different brands. So there's masks, there's face shields, there's bandanas, there's neck gaiters, all those kinds of things. And so we felt that it was necessary to get those to the market, but then in doing so, we want it to be an added touch point for our sales team. So there's still a large amount of our sales team that just doesn't have the ability to go have face-to-face meetings with their customers. So we sent it to a curated list of customers, and then from there, our sales team was equipped with more of a training guide of how do you run this hour-long meeting then once these customers get it. So once they knew that the customers had received it, they went ahead and scheduled meetings with them to have a virtual meeting if they couldn't actually go there, and say, hey, I know that you just got this kit from us, would love an hour of your time to kind of go through it with you and your team, get you a little bit more familiar with the products that we have to offer and the areas that you could really benefit out of.
Yeah, so kind of merging that digital world with physical product, I think it's brilliant. How has that worked out? How have distributors responded to that?
It's been good because it's one of those, of course, we can't have trade shows, we can't have any of that hands-on interaction, and it's really what our industry thrives on, especially for the people that are new, is they really gravitate to those in-person events to just learn and touch and feel and understand, what do you have? Why is this different from this? And so I think it's been a nice way for them to still feel like they get some version of that, although it's not perfect and it's not exactly what we're used to. Again, it's kind of that better than nothing. And it has the most personal touch for something that's highly impersonal, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense for sure. And speaking of the changes that we've been kind of forced into this year, we did touch on your print catalogs and how you've shifted gears with that. So do you want to talk a little bit about that and if you think those changes are here to stay?
Yeah, I would say we really took the stance this year on, it just didn't make the best business sense to continue down the path of producing a large big book catalog with COVID and everything that went around it. We kind of went into it saying this is just going to be a 2021 play. We'll reassess it going into next year. And I think now that that initial shock has kind of worn off for a lot of people, I think everyone is kind of like, okay, I'm going to be all right without a catalog. And then what does that look like? So you can't just say, we're not going to have a catalog, go to our website, because that's not giving them anything else. So now it's, hey, if we don't continue down that path of a catalog for the future, what else are we giving you to make your lives easier? So I think it's building out that advanced search option within the website, having more just creative reserves, almost, for lack of a better term, sell sheets, product specific flyers, all that kind of stuff that the customers can really just use and run with. We get a significant amount of requests from our sales team via the customers asking for, specific presentations and lookbooks and mock-ups and things like that. And so really coming out with some more seasonal trend guides, things that our merchandising and our sales team collaborate with extensively on, what's new, what might get lost in the shuffle, what's an area that, could really benefit from this, and how do you continue to have those brands all speak together instead of having them all kind of stand on their own.
Yeah, makes sense. So do you have any advice for suppliers or distributors that are listening who are undergoing digital transformations themselves?
I think it's just to stay open-minded. Really, a year ago, we were all pretty much just in our lane, doing our thing, moving pretty fast. Not that we had our blinders on, but it was just more like, yeah, we'll get to that when we need to. And now it's like, oh, we all need to be there. And digital moves fast. It's not something that's going to wait for any of us. And so I think the quicker you can be and the more nimble you are, the better position any of us are going to be in. And just being able to support each other and help, the customer in the long run. It doesn't do us any good if we're spending all of our time and effort on all of these resources that in the end are not beneficial for them. And so we put a lot of time and attention into, working with our sales team and with our customers on what are they looking for, what are they in need of, what would be helpful for them. It's seemingly easy for us to come up with what we think that would be, but at the end of the day, we're not the one that's selling directly to the end user. So if we're not including them in part of that conversation, we're doing ourselves a disservice of potentially producing something that is completely irrelevant to them.
Yeah, definitely. Great. Well, thank you so much for all your input today. It's definitely interesting to see what happened this past year, and we're excited to see what's next from S&S and our industry. So we really appreciate it, and we'll chat to you soon.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Ashley.